Losers, losers! Kiss my big Springfield behind Shelbyville! Woo! Ha ha! I am invincible!
You're fighting so you can watch everyone around you die! Think fuck! What will you have after 500 years?
Oh my god, I finally get to talk about this show. I'm finally on time.
You know how long I've been waiting for this?
Okay, look. So Amazon Prime is literally one of the only streaming services actually doing superheroes right. And I find that so funny, considering one of the most other popular sites and places to receive superhero media is literally right there. Marvel is out here fumbling down the damn stairs through the multiverse. I'm not gonna lie, I have been very, very uninterested in that universe for a while now. It's kind of sad.
I won't forget you, buddy.
I think I have watched like the last few movies they put out, but I don't think I've watched one of their shows in so damn long. I am so behind in that universe, and I truly don't care.
You are welcome to keep it to yourself.
DC is still rebooting itself from the dead after the universe we shall not name, and I swear to Christ.
Look at me.
I swear, if that new Superman movie isn't good, that might just be it for me. I'm turning in my DC fan club card. That's it, I'm done after that. But James Gunn has not failed me ever, and I refuse to believe he'll start now with a damn Superman project of all things. That's just not gonna happen. I think that movie's gonna be good. And of course, The Boys is what I would claim as the only damn piece of superhero media to being on Invincible's level in terms of reinventing the superhero genre by using the bare basics of what we know and making it work. The Boys and Invincible kinda changed everything, but we're not here to talk about that dynamic. There's already enough videos on the internet about that. It is kind of strange how we got two adaptations of violent comic books not linked to Marvel and DC that parodied popular superhero tropes, which both got eventually adapted into Amazon Prime TV, spawned a bunch of memes. And then both of the main antagonists of the show get put into Mortal Kombat 1 of all things.
I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice, right?
And meanwhile, just meanwhile, while The Boys is doing their thing, Marvel and DC are fighting for relevancy with each other, Invincible is just slowly cooking on the grill, slowly cooking in the back burner in superhero media land. Still taking the generic superhero shit that normal pop culture is accustomed to and flipping it on its head. Invincible never felt like a deconstruction of American comic books to me. You know, the Batman, Superman, all that shit. It actually always felt like a legit love letter to everything that's come before to me. The best part about it is that we're somehow 3 seasons in, and it feels like the story still has not started yet. I don't know shit about the comics. I'm keeping anime only with this one. But ironically, this show very, very much reminds me and gives off the same vibes to me. And hear me out on this. It gives me the same vibes as
The One Piece.
What I'm saying is it gives me the same vibes as a long-running shonen narrative that will explore every inch of everything these same characters have to offer. I'm pretty sure Invincible is just one linear story and then have like a bunch of different variants of each other, like Marvel and DC, and I think that's why I like it so much.
And I started thinking about how every superhero comic changes hands creatively and ends up going on forever, and people have been reading Spider-Man for going on 50 years now, and it's not necessarily exactly what Stan Lee and Steve Ditko had intended, but it's this kind of cool thing that's still around and everything. And I was like, well, what if this was a book that just ended? What if this book like wrapped up in a cool way and went against type in that way as well, and was a superhero book that was its own self-contained epic?
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
And also, this show has probably one of the best hooks to a season opener that I've seen in a while. I feel like Invincible can genuinely be like a hit or miss for a lot of people starting off. It kind of wants you to think it's like every other superhero origin story until it punches you in the face.
Jesus Christ.
Mark Grayson is just your average, everyday high school kid with a part-time job, a crush, and a slightly evil alien dad.
Go slide the whip! Crazy taxi!
The first episode starts off normal. Like, yeah, bro, I've seen Sky High. They're not really treading new ground here.
I see you. I see this.
But then, as an amazing post-credits hooker, the main character's dad, out of nowhere, murders this world's teeny Justice League, basically, in a way that most people probably weren't expecting, as a closer to the episode.
Finally, some action!
Why would you kill him like that?
And throughout the season, Nolan's true intentions and motivations are so heavy-handed, and it's such a great mystery to unravel into the finale that just remembering it gives me a little bit of nostalgia to why this season worked so well for a lot of people, I feel. The Omni-Man twist was one of the greatest villain reveals in animation history to me. Arguably TV history. Is that too much? Is that too much dip on the chip? Well, guess what?
I don't give a damn. Not even a little bit.
Episode 1 of Invincible is a vital taste tester. I am of the opinion, if you don't want to watch after this, then good riddance, bro. We don't need you here.
Get the fuck out of here.
The impact of Nolan either being mind controlled or used by some other force, good, bad, whatever, is a really good gateway into this world looking back on it. You really are just guessing to why he did what he did until the very last episode. And throughout the season, it just keeps escalating. Mark getting into his first real fights as a hero and instantly realizing,
I just don't think this is like great for me. I don't want to do it. I want to go home. Like, I can't take the pressure of it.
this is not a video game. This is real life. I always loved getting to see the casualties of the common folk in superhero projects, something that I feel like the bigger ones don't pay attention to as much anymore, and we need to get back to that. We need more superhero stories where the guys that can rip people in half with their bare hands aren't that good at saving lives. I surprisingly loved like the Mauler twins and Robot being like given a weird little mystery this season as well to follow, a little side quest. Cecil kind of being the only guy who actually knows what's going on from the very start and having Batman-esque level contingencies after the events of this season. And by the time the season ended, Invincible to me had already cemented itself as one of the best superhero shows ever made.
What will you have after 500 years?
You, Dad. I still have you.
And I was a crack fiend, man. I was a crack fiend for that next season. Let me tell you, man, I needed that shit. I needed it like good coochie, man. Y'all don't understand what was going down in 2021. Invincible and Arcane saved me that year. They made me remember what good American animated stories needed to feel like. Perfect little balance of humor, action, and absolute gore and terror. Brutal fight scenes that actually hold weight, actually mean something, and of course an overlapping mystery with your main antagonist that generally leaves the viewer guessing until the very last episode, while also setting up the arc to your main protagonist beautifully in a way that is basically token diversity young Clark Kent. But for this, you get to go through his life from start to finish, whether you like it or not. The good and the bad and the cringe.
Who are you talking to?
Oh, yeah, the thing with the phone, it was a friend of my dad's, and I forgot I promised I'd help him with this thing.
What was that?
And sadly, this season, that came with...
This isn't what it looks like.
You took off. You left us here with that thing.
Amber, no, that's not what happened.
You said you wanted to start over. You said that. You promised. Even Eve vouched for you, and then You do this?
Ugh, I know you're a superhero.
You know? You know?
I'm not an idiot. I figured it out weeks ago.
Then why are we fighting?
We're fighting because you lied to me.
Bitch, are you dumb?
Pardon me?
Are you dumb?
I think she's dumb.
I think she's dumb.
I think she's dumb.
think
Are
you're
you, like, medically speaking, are you, like...
Like, I'm not trying to be mean. Like, are you dumb?
Rethinking about season 1, I almost forgot how much of a talking point Amber's entire character arc was this season. This was the most brain-dead writing for a love interest for a superhero I've seen in a minute. She was written fine at first, as the girl before the endgame girl, but she mostly just made Mark's life harder for no damn reason. So you're telling me this girl just watched her boyfriend save her and save a bunch of other people from a murderous cyborg, and then when he comes back in person, instead of being grateful to him for saving your life, as well as everybody else's, she pretends to think he ran away and got mad at him for it.
I figured it out weeks ago. I figured it out weeks ago. I figured it out weeks ago.
What do you mean?
I figured it out weeks ago.
What do you
I figured
mean?
it out weeks ago. I figured it out weeks ago.
Who wrote that? Which one of you did that? Which one of you was it? Was it you, Curtis? So yeah, Invincible season 1 is damn near perfect, 9 out of 10. But just one more thing. Do y'all remember Dark Blood?
Whoa. Who is this?
I actually forgot that this was an actual character this season. Bro got done dirty in the worst way.
Go fuck yourself, Dark Blood.
Now after season 1's insanity, people expected season 2 to immediately be just as intense, I feel. Shit, I expected the same thing. But instead season 2 opted to do something different. Instead of picking up where the chaos left off, season 2 kind of slowed things down a little bit. And honestly, looking back on it, I felt like that was the smartest move they could have made. Season 2 isn't as good in my eyes as the first. The vibes were not the same, and I feel like that's mainly the show's fault. If you weren't around during that time watching Invincible, you wouldn't know that Amazon and the Invincible team thought they were motherfucking cooking. They thought they were 5D geniuses, because instead of dropping week to week, like they're doing now for season 3, for season 2 they thought it would be a great idea to split up the season into parts. Something I hate that is a normal thing now for shows. Last year it genuinely felt like nobody was watching Invincible. It deadass felt like nobody cared either. It was scary. It was scary simply because this season for me had a lot of really good stuff in it still. I genuinely wish I could be a fly on the wall during the meeting in which Amazon decided, hey, I think it would be a great idea to split an 8-episode season in half with a 4-month hiatus smack dab in between.
That was the plan. Not a great plan.
And then they want to make fun of themselves and the new teasers and shit.
And don't even get me started on your little 4-month vacation right in the middle of things. We all sure love that. You have some mayonnaise?
Okay, it was more like 3.5.
I'm not trying to hear that. Just do better. In season 2, Mark is still trying to be the hero outside of his dad's shadow now. And it's kind of hard considering his shadow is covered in so much blood. I love what they did with Debbie this season. She's kind of arguably like the second most important character in this season for me. She's completely broken from Nolan's betrayal, and a lot of the season is dedicated to fleshing out her life really, after basically feeling like fodder now in the fallout of the finale. The Guardians are still here. I'm not sure why. And the Viltrumite threat starts creeping in more and more finally. And as the season comes to an end, they finally put an end to the couple that should have ended last season.
Invincible. Come with me now, or this woman dies. Did you hear me?
Mark?
I really can't believe they wasted that S-tier David song on Amber of all people. Y'all couldn't wait a season before Eve and Mark got together before pushing out a literal masterpiece of a feel-good song? Now the first time I saw season 2, I didn't expect Nolan to come back into the story as fast as he did. We find out Nolan has a whole new family on another planet now.
That's a bug! That's That's a bug! That is a bug!
I love that this man really just started a whole second life. Like Earth was just a side hoe he had to get over. I'd have to say season 2 definitely has a lot more character driven storytelling. If season 1 was very much about Mark and Nolan and their dynamic, season 2 very much expands the universe. It has payoffs to conflicts that were set up in season 1 while also setting up major conflicts for the future, and also making Nolan's character even more complex than I would have realized it could potentially be after the events of season 1. They were really cooking a little bit here, and then it's so frustrating that they fucking shot themselves in the leg for no good reason. Invincible's world building techniques, introducing a character that you think is going to be some stupid ass gag or one-off joke, only to give him the One Piece treatment of fleshing out.
Pathetic child.
You know how most superhero media focus on the one core character, Superman, Batman, Spider-Man, etc. and the world kinda just exists around them. I really will stand on this take on I feel that Invincible sort of adopts a One Piece level style of storytelling. Invincible's writing really makes it feel like the world itself is a breathing place with tons of different stories happening at once. We got street level crime boss shit. We got multiverse stuff now with
poor Angstrom.
We still got the overall threat of the Viltrumite Empire eventually getting here. We got future alternate timeline shit. It feels like all of the characters are not here just to serve Mark's story, and I really appreciate that. Season 2 for what it is not as tightly knit narrative as season 1 is, but it does introduce so many different possibilities for the writers to play with in a fun way. That's why I love the idea of a 10-season animated series for Invincible, basically being America's new long-running shonen.
I don't know, I feel like we're just getting started. I mean, I'm very hopeful that this will be a show that can be around for a while. I think that with season 4 we're really hitting our stride. Invincible is a show that builds. I think you can see that season 2 was an advancement of a lot of things that were introduced in season 1. The stakes were higher, things got a little crazier, and there were a lot of pieces moving that were hinting at a lot of bigger stories. Those bigger stories really start crashing down in season 3, but season 4 dwarfs season 3 in a lot of really crazy ways.
If those rumors are true and the show is really gonna go on for that long, I am very excited for that, and I never thought I would say that. But I'm a firm believer that I think any show and any movie should be as long as the story needs it to be. That is my core beliefs. I stand on that shit. Because if they really want to, they can keep fleshing out this world for years to come with multiple arcs for every character, redemptions, dissensions, atonements, whatever they need to do. Like, just think about it. They could really spend a whole season focused on Viltrumite space politics. Or they could spend another season diving into all the hidden threats on Earth and personal character stuff. Or another season can go into the superhero corruption of war between factions. Maybe a civil war type storyline that lasts the whole season. The universe is so much bigger than just Mark, even though the show is called. You gotta give me that one. I had to do it just once. But for real, I do love that the show is taking its time with the storyline.
But
there's been one major complaint that's been going around about Invincible. Shit, I think I even gave it a stray in my last video. Imagine watching this and then have to pretend to get excited about Invincible season 3. It's like night and day.
I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody.
Invincible's animation? Yeah, it's alright.
It's really not that bad.
On its worst day, really solid, I guess. On its best, actually really good. You have some scenes that can look very mid, very flat. You have other fights that can have very insane choreography. And then you have other times when it looks like they ran out of time. Bro, I can see you dragging the PNG. You're not slick. And I'm not gonna sit here and do this with y'all because I come from the anime community. This ain't my first shit. This ain't my first shindig when talking about jank animation. Do you know where I've been? Do you know what I've seen?
I've been in this fight since I was 6 years old.
Compared to shows like Arcane, which is not a fair comparison at all to me, now that I look back on it, Netflix clearly valued that show as an original and gave their crew a lot of time to get that shit done visually as best as possible, versus Amazon, who I think all of their animation projects very much look the same amount of mid. And that sucks because Invincible just doesn't have that same high budget polish that I feel like it could. I feel like it deserves it, honestly. I don't think Reacher is what's making people get Amazon Prime subscriptions, bro. I'm sorry for that, Shrey. You did not deserve that.
What's he up to, man? What's he doing?
But for real, let's ask the real question now. Does this even matter? At the end of the day, Invincible is one of the best written superhero stories ever, point blank. And that's why the animation discourse is getting old to me. At least for me. I'm kinda tired of it, y'all. I'm tired of dedicated videos to, oh no! These scenes could have had so much more aura if they just...
Shut your bitch ass up!
Sorry, man. Not this time. Plot over aura this time. And I agree, sometimes I'll be honest, Invincible is so damn sauceless, it pisses me off. The models look flat as hell most of the time.
He's just standing there.
Everyone wears the same outfits, something I thought we were past now in the big age of 2025. But I get it, I do get saving time on that by not using completely different character models for clothes, if that's the case. But it kinda just pisses me off when I see Mark wear this same NPC ass blue shirt for the past 3 episodes. If that's the case, guys, maybe we need to make this show bi-yearly. But for the people acting like the animation completely ruins the show, in reality, it does not change how incredible the story is, or bring the quality down for me in any way. And it shouldn't for you too. Yeah, would I love for Invincible to have Arcane level animation? Or shit, just look as good as the teasers or fan animation online. I don't need Invincible to look as grimy as The Boys. The Boys is made by a guy that hates superheroes. Invincible is made by someone who loves them. It doesn't have to be that same level of vibe. And if they're planning 10 seasons, I'd much rather focus on keeping the writing as top notch as possible. Like bro, I don't need Jesse Pinkman voicing one of the one-off villains.
You can't keep getting away with it! You can't keep getting away with it!
I didn't even know that was him until after the episode. Invincible's budget situation seems very strangely allocated, because personally I really don't give a damn about guest star celeb voices. I'd rather you find unique talent. Genuinely could care less. Okay, let's talk about the characters. Like I was saying about The Boys, the creator of The Boys made a deconstruction of superheroes because he hates superheroes. Robert Kirkman, the creator of Invincible, made a deconstruction of superheroes because he loves superheroes. And it shows by his main protagonist, Mark Grayson. He's got all the heart and determination of your classic good guy hero, but I think I can count all of the fights that he's won on my hand. And I don't think I need that many fingers to do it. Because you see, bro is very vincible in the first 2 seasons. And people use this as a complaint for the show, but honestly, I like it a lot. Because honestly, if this is going to be a long running show, we're generally seeing him go from 0 to 100. And once he's as strong as he needs to be, it's gonna feel very sweet getting to see his progression from this.
Be beating the dog shit out of him. They whooping me! They whooping me!
I know a lot of people compare him to Peter Parker, and I do see the comparison. A well-intentioned, honest, hardworking kid who just keeps losing and getting the shit kicked out of him by life, and he just keeps getting back up. That's what makes them both compelling. If it comes out that Spider-Man was a big inspiration for Invincible, I would not be surprised at all. We got the hot-headed vibes, the redhead girlfriend, the symbiote suit crash out arc that I feel like is coming based on season 3. I genuinely love that when Mark messes up, he messes up bad. When he loses, he really loses. And when he wins, bro barely makes it out alive. And he's also a very, very annoying protagonist to root for sometimes. Because of his age, he makes some fucking decisions that I can't even muster how much they bother me. Like season 1 Mark was naive, overly idealistic, thought being a superhero was gonna be a fun side gig, then his own dad punched the optimism out of his face and into a mountain. Season 2 Mark doubles down on proving himself, and he tries to balance school, relationships, and superheroing all at the same time. But Invincible does the one thing that I really like and shows just how impossible that fucking sounds.
Mark and I, our worlds were too different. But you and him, that's where you both live.
Thank you!
And by the end of the season, Mark quits school altogether because I genuinely love how Mark is running himself into the ground in season 2 just to prove he's not weak and that he's not like his father. Only to come to the realization,
nigga, you got that nigga feet, you got that nigga body, you got that nigga long arms, fingers and shit, flat feet, big dick.
And so far in season 3, man, Mark is learning the hard way that power isn't enough. He's out here struggling to make the right choices while Cecil is playing 4D chess with the world's survival.
I don't understand why you even did this to yourself. This made you look so fucking stupid.
Because Mark is young and still thinks in black and white, while Invincible is a show about the gray areas, he does a lot of stuff in season 3 that has you thinking, why am I rooting for this guy? And if his arc is going in the way that I feel post episode 7, I am very, very excited to see what's gonna come in season 4. I feel like Nolan, to a lot of people, another evil Superman. It's not like we don't have enough of those already. Season 1 Nolan, an absolutely terrifying presence, a walking war crime alien soldier for the strongest race in the galaxy disguised as a loving father. And like I said before, the mystery surrounding that lasts until the very last episode. And that final fight, good lord. I feel like that final fight is still, to a lot of people, probably one of the most brutal and emotional moments in superhero media. At least I felt that way when I first watched it. Bro made his own son chop up humans into a blending machine. And the crazy part is, despite everything he did, you never stop being invested in him. And that's just good writing. I don't know what to tell y'all. Bro did one of the most heinous acts I've ever seen put to a TV screen.
I can always start again. Make another kid.
And I still kinda just want him to be happy with his family and go home. And I think I might be a crazy person for that. But that's where season 2 comes in and starts asking the real question about Nolan. Is he evil? Is he a villain? Or is he really just a victim of his own upbringing? He was raised as a Viltrumite war machine and that's all he knows. The only thing he's ever known is conquest.
There it is! There it is!
Until he got to Earth, he got a fine-ass Asian wife and had a family. And he gained humanity, and he didn't realize it until the very last moments of smashing his son's face into a mountain. That's why Invincible is so damn good, bruh. It doesn't write twist villains. It writes nuanced and complicated characters. The "she was just a pet to me" line hits so hard, not because it's hilarious. You kinda understand where he's coming from when you look at it.
I do love your mother, but she's more like a pet to me.
A pet?
This is the only way, Mark.
Don't touch me.
Calm down.
I will not calm down. This is insane. What you did was not nice. It's not nice to do that.
As a Viltrumite, he'll live literally for hundreds of thousands of years. And as you can see, he genuinely did care for Debbie.
I think I miss my wife.
It genuinely feels like he's not trying to convince Mark in this final section of the season, but trying to convince himself that what he's doing is the right thing to do now.
I killed the Guardians of the Globe. Wait, before you say anything, just listen, please. I'm not a monster. I didn't want to do it, but it had to be done. It was my responsibility.
The fact that his exact motivations remained a mystery until the very end is so good, man. You guys don't even understand. At first you're thinking, does he want to be the true sole protector of the Earth? That's why he killed off his competition once Mark came of age. Why he doesn't like team-ups. The vagueness of
Earth isn't yours to conquer.
Every word he says to Mark in the finale feels like he's arguing with himself and not with Mark. It feels like he's battling his own loyalty to Viltrum versus his love for his family, as if trying to persuade himself to be loyal to his kind instead of feeling normal love for something else. And whatever redemption arc they plan on giving him, I am very interested and very invested to see how they handle it. I can't lie, that's at the top of my list when it comes to anticipations for the show moving forward. One of Invincible's main strengths as a show is its side cast, which gives me a chance to talk about one of my actual favorite characters in the show, Debbie Grayson. A character who is somehow the heart of the show without having any powers whatsoever. She's kind of like the heart of the human race in a way. You can't really talk about side characters without talking about her. She's given way too much screen time for that. I love that she's just a damn real estate agent and I care more about her arc than the leader of the Guardians.
I don't like him.
She's not just Mark's mom. She's not just Nolan's wife. She's her own person with her own story, and that's rare as hell in superhero media. For someone that can actually be so small and so forgotten in the grand scheme of things, I actually care about her and everything she got going on. And it's not just because she kinda bad though.
You look totally fine too, girl. Golly, every time I see you, I gotta push Q. You bad.
She is genuinely one of the more interesting characters to follow. In season 1, she has to slowly realize that her husband is a monster and then sit and live with that reality. In season 2, where she's basically spiraling, dealing with the trauma of being manipulated for 20 years, being called man's best friend. And since Mark is at college, she's kind of just like alone all the time, and it's very sad to look at.
You could have taken Earth whenever you wanted. Why did you marry me? Was it just to be cruel? Just to hurt someone? Everything we built. 20 years. And none of it was real.
And in season 3, she's trying to move forward now. But how do you even begin to rebuild after something like that? I personally come from the same type of household, so that's probably why I like her arc so much, honestly. It kind of speaks to me, I'm not gonna lie. I had to live with a real life Debbie for a long time, so this story very much hits hard to me. It feels real, it feels raw, and it feels personal to me. The show never treats her as a supporting character in Mark's story. She has her own story, and it's one of the most compelling arcs in the show. Bravo. Rex somehow went from
I honestly can't stand you
to doing heroic
Just go on without me.
Save yourself. Heroic, noble sacrifices. I'll be real, I did not expect Rexplode to become one of the most likable characters in fucking Invincible.
I checked on that couple you pulled from the river. They're gonna make a full recovery. Because of you. So dry your tears, tell your parents to go shove it up their asses, and get back out there, right?
Right. Thanks, Rex.
Season 1 bro was a walking red flag, a cheater, arrogant, and they picked the perfect voice actor to portray the obnoxious douchebag that he was. It was kind of uncanny, but Invincible did something smart, and they gave him depth by almost killing him. They slowly started showing us why Rex is the way he is. He got sold off by his parents to be a superhero, and this life is kind of all he knows. And by season 3, he's become one of the most enjoyable characters to watch. I very much appreciate him. He still talks his shit.
Isotope, let's go. Isotope!
But now he's got some real character development to back it up. It's kind of beautifully done by the end of it all. I didn't think I'd care when he actually died. Actual respect. Except for all that shit that went on at his funeral. What was up with all that?
The first crazy moment in this scene is Rudy, aka Robot, straight up just taking Rex's name at his funeral.
I am changing my name from Rudy to Rex.
Like, first this dude sees Monster Girl flirting with Rex one time and he's like, yeah, that's it, I'm taking your entire look, buddy. And now he's taking his name too. This dude is a menace.
Okay, I'm gonna say Adam Eve is one of the best written female superheroes in modern animation. She kind of checks off all my boxes and what I look for in a female main lead. powerful, independent, not just a love interest. She even gets her own damn OVA episode origin story. And I think I love her character so much because I remember watching that episode. And you guys might laugh at me for this, but I remember crying a single tear left my eye when I watched that episode. It was this scene. It was this scene right here.
Who is that?
Where do you think all your brothers and sisters came from?
Oh, that's...
Good old Mom.
Oh God! How messed up is that?
And I'm glad they released this. It gave her character so much more depth before season 2 even started. The fact that we needed another season before they gave us this relationship that was inevitably going to happen because it was the worst kept secret of all time online. Kinda annoying, but who cares, here we are now. My only issue now with Adam Eve is simply because of her very, very nice OVA episode breaking down her powers, where she comes from. They really gave her so much time to flex everything she could do and could potentially do in the future. This girl has literally one of the coolest fucking powers I've ever seen in a superhero anything. But for some reason, I feel like she is so damn nerfed in the main show. But I'm genuinely confused on why she isn't doing any of this creative stuff anymore in any of her fight scenes. Granted, she is a young adult now. She wants to do different things like get a college education, even though she can do shit like this.
I can do anything I want on my own. Literally, I can rearrange atoms on a molecular level like it's easy.
Her fight with Powerplex was a nice example of how she could really incapacitate someone in like 10 seconds. But all she be doing now is her little pew-pews and her little bubbles and her little walls. If the threat is a Viltrumite, a literal alien warmongering super being race that can move faster than she can react, no duh she's gonna get outmatched in a 2v2 against them and get her ankle crunched. I'm not letting you guys put down my girl's body. That's not her fault. I'm not mad that she's getting one shot by the strongest beings in the universe. I'm just mad that we don't get to see her do more cool stuff like this outside of her OVA. I would personally cut all of the Guardians of the Galaxy screen time for more Adam Eve side quests. That honestly sounds way more entertaining than watching these motherfuckers lose every fight. If you've seen my JJK videos, you know how much I love Nobada. And to me, Eve is cut from that same sauce of likability in my head and what she represents. For example, her fight with the aliens, the earthquake guy. She never uses her powers in a tactical or creative way. Their clothing, the ground underneath them, the air around them, their own weapons. Those all should be weaknesses for her to exploit, because her power is that broken. But she never does it, and there's no canonical explanation for why. I would be down to have a conversation more about this in the comments. Where are my Adam Eve apologists? And then in season 3, with her fight with Powerplex, she does the most brain dead thing and hands him over to the cops without explaining how his power works to them. Instead, she lets regular human police officers handle a guy who absorbs energy by hurting himself.
He's got a point.
I do appreciate now, since Mark and Eve is finally together, she can become way more involved in the story, and I hope season 4 lets her cook a lot more. She's not just a smart love interest, she's a top tier superhero, and I want her to have more things to do.
But anywho,
Invincible also has one of the weirdest sets of villains I've ever seen. This rogues gallery is the most lunary buffoonery bullshit I've seen for superhero villains ever. They are honestly more funny than they are threatening to me. We got the Mauler twins, who to me are just kinda like peak recurring henchman energy. Doc Seismic, a D tier villain that somehow be looking saucy as hell when he fights. Angstrom Levy, Mark's very first nemesis in a way. The person that kind of pushes him over the edge in a bunch of different ways throughout the course of the series so far. And I want to take the time to talk about this, but season 3, episode 3 specifically, there was this couple trying to live like a normal life as like ex-villains. And it caught me so damn off guard when it first came out, because they gave these two a whole like little silent short film segment in the episode, and it was very weird because unfortunately Invincible's animation isn't helping give these scenes the type of creative drama filmmaking sauce I feel like the team behind the show was going for. I kind of feel the same way whenever they play licensed music in the show. Sometimes it feels a little bit off, and especially for this cold open for this episode, it feels like the visuals weren't matching the vibe and ambiance that they were trying to set. And as unique and cool as a creative choice this was, it kind of fell flat simply because the show doesn't look that good. My other favorite character in the show is Cecil, the man who is always right. One of the best morally great characters in the show. A big talking point in season 3 right now is how Mark is out here preaching superhero morals because he's 19 and reads Magic Dog comics. Meanwhile, Cecil is over here making sense to, I feel, every adult in the room watching season 3 right now.
Look, kid, we've had our differences, but we're still on the same side. We're still trying to save lives, and we're still the good guys.
It's like, granted, what he did to Mark was a little wild, but I'm pretty sure everybody agrees who was making the most sense in this little conflict. Earth isn't built for fair fights, even with the people that help protect it. You can literally smear through humans like butter. Hell yeah, I put a chip in your brain. And if season 2 was the setup season for season 3, so far it feels like this is the season where shit is really going down. We're finally seeing Mark actually winning fights and being pushed to make decisions for the sake of mankind. That is honestly too damn much for a 19-year-old to have on his shoulders. Reminds me of another misunderstood main character. But this is not your video king. Not yet. The Viltrumite threat is now here in our face, balding in all his glory, voiced by fucking Negan. Episode 7, The Invincible War, where multiple versions of Mark from different realities invade and start slaughtering big cities. It's probably one of the best episodes of the show. Steven Yeun was putting his gussy into this performance for literally every version of Mark. They all genuinely sound like a different version of the same character, and that balance is very nice. It's too bad that the main character, halfway through the fight, decides to sit in a fucking hospital for it.
He dumb?
Do you get when I say it is very annoying to root for Mark sometimes? Because all I can do is bring up his age to why he would be making these brain dead ass decisions. Your mom and brother are literally out there while you're sitting by Eve's bedside for like 2 days.
Is this nigga serious?
Mark is such a weird ass stupid hypocrite in this season, because he'll forgive Nolan for killing thousands and traumatizing him with a broken jaw, but he won't forgive Cecil for rehabilitating criminals to help save the world. The fuck are we talking about? His girl was literally in the safest place in the planet, but instead of worrying about his mom or his brother or anybody else, he let thousands die on his watch. He didn't even help take down an Invincible. He still got his ass beat. Thankfully, by the finale, the payoff to a 3-season build-up has finally arrived. An introduction that has been hyped up to Kingdom Come by my inner circle of friends is finally here. Now, before I started the finale, I needed one thing and one thing only. There was only one thing I was really saying to myself. This man Mark has to redeem himself. After the past 2 season finales, I know that this is the strongest villain you faced up until now, but I need you to be an actual hero for once and try to prioritize minor casualties, even a little. Just try your hardest. Season 1, that wasn't your fault. You were playing on a completely different difficulty that you weren't ready for. Season 2, you were kind of embarrassing, bro. He just kept running into the portals head first, brain up his ass. Season 3, we don't need another Superman versus Zod scenario. We don't need this shit to turn into the fucking apocalypse. So when Mark tried bringing the battle with Conquest to the skies, that made me so proud. But the fight itself is actually insane. Conquest basically has the same ideals as your average Saiyan warrior in Dragon Ball, and Jeffrey Dean Morgan gave so much personality to this role, it's uncanny. He was kinda made for it.
The truth is, I want you to resist. I'm not here to save you. I'm not here to spread the greatness of the Viltrum Empire. I'm here because I enjoy this.
Like, that kind of stuff makes me horny.
That one shot of Conquest coming down from the sky, and you can feel his presence, his aura, with just the rattling of the blood.
Like, that kind of stuff makes me horny.
That shit legit felt like a Zack Snyder film put to animation. And that's when I had to get up out my chair. That's when I had to start applauding. Bravo to the casting crew, the sound design team, and that scene. That was insane. Had Conquest doing the fucking Green Goblin hitting him, but he's actually enjoying it bit. I always like a force of nature villain sometimes. I usually prefer a complex to nuanced one, but an antagonist who doesn't have too much going on with him besides beating up the heroes can be fun too, if done in the right way. And I feel like it was done very well with Conquest. I heard from the grapevine his little venting, suffering from success speech to Mark was not in the comics, and was actually something that was added to give him a little bit more nuance to his personality, and I very much appreciate that. And I have to say, this is one of the most gruesome fights in the show yet. Everybody is getting fucked up here. Eve comes in and finally gives everybody what they wanted by showing how she's basically a fucking Green Lantern on steroids on her best days. Finally Eve getting to flex.
Oh my goodness.
She does almost die. No! But then she reminds everybody that if you didn't watch her OVA episode, you probably should now, because she transforms into what I can only describe as an Anodite from Ben 10 to basically vaporize Conquest, leaving Mark to come in and steal her kill. And I'm not gonna lie, I didn't think that the threat that was set up since last season would be defeated by Mark himself. Mark going full fucking feral, broken arms, probably a grade 5 level concussion, all just to pull out a W this time. I couldn't believe it. I genuinely couldn't believe it.
We did it. We did it!
As a capper to the season, I'd have to say, the season 3 finale is fucking phenomenal. Season 1 had so much going for it in its finale, the shock of it all, the themes, how much it meant to the characters involved. But this is just a guttural dogfight in the mud, so damn cathartic, and I love everything about it. No complaints really. Bravo Mark, and for sure, bravo E.
We'll close it.
I'm also really glad they made this a definitive thing as well. I never understood why Mark, in the world that he lives in, decided to have a valiant no-kill rule. I get it, it does matter towards his arc, especially in season 2 of course, considering what happened to him and Nolan, not wanting to be like him. Kinda ironic as hell that once I remember Damien Darkblood's existence, he shows up in a post-credit scene in season 3. Like, bro, I genuinely thought you were dead and weren't coming back. All in all, it's been a while when a show has really made me want more after its closing. But good lord, I want more Invincible. Genuinely. Honest to God, now that I think about it, Invincible has always made me feel like that. I'm always full after every season, no matter the ups and the downs of people talking about the production and everything around the general show. Sometimes I feel like the general audience of Invincible are actually anime fans as well, and I kind of feel like that's why they expect the same level of sakuga of breathtaking action sequences. Personally, I still we still get that in the show sometimes. It's just not gonna be as frequent, and personally I'm okay with that because I'm genuinely in love with the story. People always want me to watch One Piece, read One Piece, experience One Piece, but I'm sorry y'all, Invincible is my One Piece, as crazy as that sounds. And if the show plans to be as long as it needs to be, then I will be there every step of the way, being its biggest glazer.
I miss William.
You think to yourself, that was weird, but I'm not gay. You are. You are gay.
Did you tell me this was over? There ain't no use talking it over. Yeah, why didn't you try to tell me sooner? Why didn't you tell me it was over?